Hi, I'm Pete Lee. Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Hey, we're here. This
We're
is great.
here. How are you for time? Have you got some time?
I totally have time. Yeah,
Great. We'll
I'm
just
all
do one of those
yours.
24-hour interviews and this will be great.
Yeah, this is gonna be we're actually gonna fall asleep on Zoom like a long distance couple that
Mm.
FaceTimes.
I find that really comforting actually when I do that during interviews. Just in case I wake up and I have any questions in the night. Like, did you hear
Yeah,
that? Or,
this is really funny. Oh my God,
huge
I
relief.
love your wit. This is great. I don't know if you like kick off the show or anything like that, but I'll be quiet for a second so you can do what you do.
Okay, I'll be quiet too. We'll just have a moment
Like
about
that we dressed like each other today.
we
We're
did.
both
Yeah.
wearing the black top. I love that.
I wanted you to feel comfortable at home. I painted my house especially for this too.
Yeah, we literally have the same color scheme on the walls.
Yeah,
Um,
I have those exact same books.
you
Hmm.
have National Aeronautics and Space Administration. I'm staying in a I'm staying at a rental property in Los Angeles right now, and so this place has a lot of the owner's stuff, and it's pretty interesting. This is a candle that is bourbon pumpkin. I don't even know what that's actually really great. Maybe next time I get bourbon, I'll be like, can you put a little pumpkin spice in there?
Yeah, and then a pirate death skull thing on the front of it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand where the skull relates to it. I'm not
Maybe it's just
sure.
suggesting don't eat it. It smells so delicious. So you grew up in Janesville, Wisconsin, and you are, of course,
Yes.
a brilliantly hilarious comedian. But can you tell me, what did you aspire to be when you were growing up?
It's funny. I wanted to be like a drummer in a band, or a musician, but then I took drum lessons and guitar lessons. And it turns out that I am musically just challenged. Like I can't. It doesn't translate. I have pretty good like hand-eye coordination, which is funny now. Like you and I are very similar in that we've become friendly with a lot of people in the public eye. And some of my best friends are like really brilliant musicians. And one of the reasons why they like to hang out with me specifically is because I ask zero music questions, because I just don't understand it. And but I guess if you're in music, you get a lot of questions like, yeah, when you're reaching for that chord, how do you get your hand there? And I just can't. I just don't. I'm like, man, when you did that song, it sounded neat.
I'd be
But
like, what's your favorite
oh,
noise?
yeah. What's your favorite noise?
I love that
Um,
one.
yeah. What's your favorite music, by the way?
Mine, I kind of like, no, pop music, 60s music or rap sometimes, or Disney soundtracks, or just lots of different stuff. What I like to do every month, I'll tell you this
Yeah.
exclusively, I guess, on my show, which doesn't make sense, is
No,
I'll
I
go
love
and
it.
see what new songs are out every month. And I make a playlist that say February 2025, and I'll try and add like 10, 15 new songs, and then like a few I've been listening to recently. And so I sort of keep up to date, which I'm struggling to do more and more now that I'm several decades old.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm 47, and everyone in like LA where I'm at right now, they hide their age and they shave their face really close and they dye their hair. And I just let the grays out, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be what age I am, and this way I'm not going in for casting where they're trying to cast a 30-year-old and they're like, oh, this guy is exhausted. And but now, yeah, now I go in for cool, like not cool dad parts, but usually like overly eager dad parts. And I'm not a dad, but I am overly eager, so it's
that
perfect.
counts. I have a
Hmm.
similar thing. A lot of people my age are getting like Botox and fillers now, but I'm trying to be more natural. And I worked out that if I just eat a lot of potatoes, it kind of pads my face out in the same way.
That's that's funny that you say that. I recently gained a bunch of weight, and
Congratulations.
well, I know it feels good, and but I started working out again. I'm not really stressing out about it, but I was joking around that I got so fat that I didn't have to iron, which is kind of the same concept of your potato concept. That if you can just stretch your shirts, the wrinkles are not there. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do that with your face too.
Yeah, you can just, I can just, actually, me trying to lose weight right now. I've been, uh, yeah, like I felt like my face looks pretty good, but I think it's because I don't have any wrinkles. So if I get down to my goal weight, I'm gonna look my age,
It's a
which,
massive problem. I mean, I spend most of my spare time in the cinema, and the lighting is perfect for my face. So that's
oh
another
yeah,
option.
it's absolutely perfect. Is that how you like because you sent me a list of people that have been on your show and it was massive A-listers and then I went to your Instagram and I'm like, "Oh my God, Sarah is just hanging out with all these people." And I'm like, "Wow, that's so cool." But I like now that I'm experiencing you and your wit and whatever, I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course these people would be like, Sarah's super cool. Let's go do this." And I'm happy to be a part of it. But that's you have quite an impressive resume going with your show. That's cool.
Thank you very much. I've been lucky to have loads of amazing people on my show, including your good self. And I've known of you for several years through TV shows that you've been on that I always regularly watch. And I messaged you last week when I always watch Mint Comedy. It's 2:30
Oh,
a.m. on Thursday night, well, Friday morning in England. And they do a live show from the Comedy Cellar in New York. And you're on there and you're hilarious as always. And yeah, we got talking, and I'm so thankful and grateful that you're on my show today to celebrate your career and all that good
oh,
stuff.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that Mint comedy. I'm actually going on again this Monday.
Oh, really?
Spoiler alert. I guess the last Thursday one went so well, but then now I have to go on and do a different 15 minutes, I guess, because the people that tune in like yourself are regulars, but so I'll do a different set. But yeah, I really like I don't know where are you at in the world, by the way?
So I'm in England, near
Okay,
London.
near London. Okay. It's just the internet's so neat to me right now. And again, maybe I'm talking like a 47-year-old person that is like, yeah, I look at Instagram on my iPad. But but it's so neat to me that, when I look on my Instagram and then I see globally where people are watching my content, it's like all over the world.
Yeah,
Like in England, I've been thinking about going over and doing a show in London because I think it's like 5,000 fans there, which, good luck trying to reach them. You gotta, I don't know, I guess I would have to buy ads on my own Instagram and then try to reach them. But that's wild that uh, out of my followers, I have 5,000 people in England. That's crazy to me. And like in Australia, there's a lot of fans
yeah.
um, and it makes sense that a lot of my friends now are going to do these tours over there. But that it's just so wild and special that you can, a lot of times I'll be, when I upload my content, I'll be like either sitting in the car, like parked or something like that, and just uploading it, or, I'm on the toilet or something like that. So I upload something on the toilet and then someone in England enjoys it. It's just wild, like how global everything is. And then Mint Comedy being a live streamed comedy thing from the Comedy Cellar, I think it's one of the greatest comedy clubs in the world.
Yeah.
Um, it's just wild to me. News used to travel by horse.
Still does in England.
That's great. This is a very British afternoon for me. One of my best friends, his name is Justin Chancellor, and he's the bassist in Tool.
Oh,
And
wow,
after
amazing.
this, neither of us are drinking alcohol right now for a little stint to try to. Well, he's being healthier. I'm trying to lose weight, and it's pretty healthy to not drink alcohol for a while. But we're gonna go for high tea. So when we jump off of this, I have to find a high tea spot in
Mm.
LA that he and I can go have proper tea. And so this is a very British afternoon for me.
Well, if you're in New York, you could go to Times Square, just have a normal cup of tea, and then you accidentally get high just by breathing in.
I basically could do that in LA too. I when I was getting into this place, the locksmith came and he goes, by the way, he goes, your he goes, your place here. It smells a lot like really great weed. And what I didn't realize, I'm gonna actually walk with you with the computer. So the owner of this rental property um, actually owns a weed company, and I don't know how many people take their laptop and walk with you, but
Quite a
so
few
this
actually.
this yeah, so this weed store, so this weed guy in his office in LA, this is the office, he actually has like a display like you're at a weed store. And so I didn't realize when this locksmith came in just how much marijuana was in this house specifically. He's like, you must get really high a lot. And between you and me, I don't mean to sound not cool. I don't really smoke weed very often because it makes me have anxiety. But uh, it's really too bad that there's that much marijuana in this house, and then I don't really smoke it. But so you said you spend a lot of time in the cinema. Are you
Yeah.
like do you do like you're a big fan of movies and like do you do like movie reviews and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I used to do a lot of them. Well, I did literally hundreds of them in the past. I studied film and media studies at college. I've got a degree in traditional animation. I've always loved film. And
Hmm.
my initial plan actually was to go and work at Disney. And the studio I wanted to work at, the month I graduated, closed. And then I ended up just going on this weird journey of doing different stuff. And I've reviewed films. And then I worked out I could go to press screenings and I was getting invited to press conferences and red carpet events and interviewing people. And I used to just record the audio and type it out. And that's a lot of fun. And the plan and the dream was eventually to film it and then do things like this. And then eventually I want to do it on stage and all that good stuff.
Well, that's great. Well, I don't
Hmm.
know. I like the idea that you were studying film and you do animation and you were learning a lot of behind the camera stuff, but then I don't know, you're extremely witty, so and beautiful and you need to be on camera and express that as well.
Thank you very much. To be
Yeah.
honest, I'm actually planning on getting into stand-up comedy. That's
Oh,
my
heck
next
yeah.
thing I'm doing.
Heck yeah. I love that. Do you have any getting into stand-up comedy questions or anything like
I've got
that?
so many. That's why I
Ask
keep doing this.
away.
I'm picking everyone's brains and writing it all
Yeah.
down. I've been writing stuff for a few years now, and I'm planning, I think, in the next couple of months to go on stage with it finally. I'm kind of in an odd situation because, as you've seen, some of the people I've interviewed, some of them have
Hmm.
said, when you're ready to do this, come up on stage and I'll be your support act. If you want to perform at this club, you can. And I'm like, that's amazing. Thank you. But I also want to really test my material lots and lots before I cash in on these opportunities.
Yeah, I think that I think that's a good thing to do. It's like I highly recommend not inviting a ton of friends and family the first time you do it. One of the great things about stand-up comedy and like touring around is that you're in front of a bunch of strangers. And so you have I don't even know how to put it, but like you have anonymity, like you're in a room full of people, but you're also alone because you have
Yeah.
no accountability because you don't know these people. But my first time, I invited like 50 people to the thing, and luckily it went well. But the second time I did it, it went not good, and I'm so happy that none of those friends were there. But yeah, I don't know. I I think that you should be like Batman, like train in private, train alone, and then be awesome out in the city. But definitely cash in on those opportunities
Yeah, I
when you
will.
feel
Yeah.
comfortable. But yeah, the first time it's interesting that you said that you've been writing for a long time because that's what I did as well. Pretty much from the time I was I don't know. I think I was like 11 or 12. My grandmother taught me how to, write jokes. She was a lounge singer.
Oh,
Her and
wow.
my dad actually lived out in LA. And if you were a lounge singer, you had to kind of tell jokes in between songs. And
Sure.
so,
Yeah.
she was telling jokes to an audience while at a piano, kind of a la Zach Galifianakis in a way, and the place that's the Comedy Store that's just up the hill. That used to be a place called Ciro's, and so my grandmother used to play the piano there, and like entertain people during dinner. And so it's wild that almost, I mean, I'm not sure structurally, but I think it's the same stage. that my grandmother used to play the piano on. I go up there and I'm going to tell jokes there tonight. But my grandmother taught me how to write a joke, and then
Yeah.
she linked me up with a Tonight Show writer that just so happened to be a seasoned Tonight Show writer for Johnny Carson. Had a family, moved back to Wisconsin, would wake up early and write jokes every single day. So um, I started writing jokes pretty early on in life, and all a joke is a surprise.
Yeah.
They say that human beings are like on the primate scale, so we're all monkeys. And if you walk up behind a zoo monkey and you like clap your hands, they get surprised and they go ha 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 ha, ha, and they laugh. And so all you have to do is kind of delight people. And uh, but yeah, my I studied at UCB, and it used to be like try to find the surprise, or try to write the wittiest joke or whatever. And I've talked to you for I don't know how many minutes now, but you're very witty, so your brain's gonna save yourself, if you just get up on stage. But you have material and you've been writing. But what I would do when you're writing is think of it not in terms of like I want to be brilliant or I want to put pressure on writing a great joke. My method is just try to find the fun.
Yeah.
I play a game called What's Fun Here, and like I'll give you an example. Like well, the Tonight Show that you saw, I wrote a joke that the first joke was like when your house burns down. I learned dry January is over. And it was interesting because I did that joke on the Tonight Show, and then obviously topical jokes get copied or there's parallel thought. But
Yeah, of
then
course.
I was watching SNL that week, and they told that joke 5 days after I said it. And then I think it was The Daily Show did the joke as well. And but I was like, well, at least I was the first one to tell it. But to me, it was fun that literally I saw my house burning down in LA, and then I just started drinking. And so I was like, dry January is over. And I went on stage and I was like, dry January is over. My house is burning, guys. And but wait one sec. I'm gonna oh my buddy Justin, sorry. Hi. Okay. All right. There we are. Sorry, my buddy Justin was like, I'm done. He's in the band Tool, and just got done with practice, like so like band practice.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey mate, he's like, I'm done. He's like, where are you at? But actually, let me just tell him, would you like to come to? I'll just have him come here. All right, there we go. Sorry, that's completely unprofessional to answer a text message, but if he's done and I don't answer him, he's just gonna go home to Marina Del Rey, and then I won't end up having high tea with him. But
And
so
that would be a
anyway,
problem.
many apologies.
No, no, no. This is absolutely cool. By the way, I'm so sorry to hear about your house. That must have been horrific. I understand you were in New York at the time when you found
Yeah,
out.
I had to do the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon the
Yeah.
day after my house burned down. So my house actually, it's funny, it started burning on the 7th, and then it didn't get done burning until like well into the evening of the 8th.
Wow.
And the neighborhood burned 3 times, and everybody bought fire safes. And fire safes, just so people know, are fireproof. They're not inferno proof. This is an inferno.
Yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
it's I was like, I cried over it a lot. I've done a lot of therapy about it. I've also done a lot of jokes about it, which is really cathartic. And, it feels really good it feels really good to be able to talk about it and joke about it. But sometimes I'll tell the crowd, I was out in Washington, D.C., and I was like, my house burned down, and it hits them so heavy.
Yeah.
And then I start joking about it that I actually give them a minute. I'm like, I'm going to give you a minute to process, and then I'm going to be really funny about it.
Can you tell me though, was your house the orange one before the fire or did that happen during?
It's funny. They're actually perfect. Uh, Justin, so this is drama for the podcast. Justin is meeting me here at this house at 3, so we're good. So we have some time. So I'll have time to do this, and then I'll have time to actually get ready and meet up with him. There's
Perfect. And we're gonna watch the
the
entire thing, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we're gonna watch I'm gonna make him watch the entire thing. I love that. You're very funny.
I can't stop
So,
doing it. I ruined my mum's funeral. I got fired one day. Apparently, it was the funniest firing they ever had.
oh my God, I love that. The wait, so is a barrier? I know I'm interviewing you, but is a barrier for you like just the idea of just getting on stage? Is that a barrier or
No,
like because
I've
for
done a
me
ton of
that
stuff
was
on stage.
okay because I was writing material and then I just didn't know how to break that barrier and then
Yeah.
get on stage.
So I've hosted film festivals and different events. I've done quite a lot of stuff on stage. I'm used to that side of it. It's more that I've got such a respect and love for stand-up comedy, and I always have. I used to watch Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy in the 1980s and Whoopi Goldberg and all these amazing people. And I've always tried to watch as much SNL as I can and just immerse myself in it as much as possible. And I've got so much respect for it that when I do it, I just don't want it to be bad. You go up in there, some jokes work, some don't, and you find that out through the process of doing it, which is fine. But I also just want to make sure that when I go up there, if most of it sucks and I've got one good joke, then I don't have to wait weeks to write more material. I can literally go up the next day with more. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
just get some in my back pocket and that not that I have pockets, but then go up there and have some material other than the mountainous amount on my body.
Well, you and I both, my friend. But
No
let
one
me
ever
tell you
corrects me with
this.
that. I don't know what that is.
The
I'm just,
well, I just I don't know. I was being more self-deprecating, but the but I mean, if it makes you feel better about
yeah,
you don't want to go up there and it be bad, um, everybody uh everybody that does it at first is a little bad,
yeah, yeah.
and there's a saying called there's no such thing as good or bad. There's only early work.
Right.
So when you're doing early work, you it's gonna have holes in it and it's gonna be whatever. And then there's gonna be bright spots where you go, oh my God, I wrote that and my instincts were correct and it's brilliant. But my friend Neil Brennan, he was talking about how Richard Pryor, after each one of his specials, he would go up at the Comedy Store when Neil Brennan was first starting, and Richard Pryor would go up there and just tank for an hour, and so for an hour, the one of the greatest comedians in the history of stand-up comedy would go up there and just talk and bomb. And then, week after week, it would get funnier and funnier. And so, like even this legend that right after he recorded live at the Sunset Strip, would go up and have early work. And
Yeah.
me right now, I'm trying to write a new opening line for my set because writing killer opening lines, I like to have like a couple of them in my back pocket. But it's an opening line where you go, you're kind of trying to tell people a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your humor, and it's a quick one-liner that gets people to know you. Louis Anderson had a great opening line in his first Tonight Show set. He was a little bit heavy set or a lot, and he said he's like, "Oh, guys, sorry, I can't stay long. I'm in between meals." And what a great opening line, and so I've been trying to write a lot of times when I'm writing a new sort of chunk, I'll start with the opening line and then I let it flow from there. So, and I went up last night, uh, two shows and they hated that opening line. And so I back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
But it's like, I hate to say the word failing, but like, trial and error, or, it's not even an error. It's like, you can't even think about it like oh, this is good or bad. It's kind of funny. Like, my whole goal in stand up is that I want to connect with people. Like we're connecting
Yeah.
right now, and you want to connect with the audience, and you want the audience to connect with each other. Like them laughing hysterically at a joke is the ultimate connection of molecules of people or whatever. Not to sound too hippy dippy, but I actually, the way that I frame it in my head when a joke
Yeah.
bombs is I'm like, they're connecting over how bad that sucked. And so they're still connecting. I'm still doing my job. And, and so I don't know if you could possibly frame it that way in your head of, like, it's not dis, you're not dishonoring stand-up comedy by not doing well. I mean, some of the greatest stand-up comedians in history, Andrew Dice Clay, at the height of his career, he went up and he filmed a set at Dangerfield's Comedy Club where he recorded it as an album, and he was just bombing the whole time. And it's a great album because it really captures the essence of bombing. And I don't know. So whatever you're avoiding with that, I hope that the examples I just gave you dispel any
Yeah,
fears
thank you
about
so
that.
much. I mean, to be honest, I've been thinking about it for a number of years, and it was kind of funny because I'd interview a comedian and they'd ask me if I did it too, and I was like, no. And they're like, well, you should. And I was like, thanks. And then anyway, I just kept going about my life. And then my mum passed away and my brain broke for a while. Then the pandemic happened, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward a bit, I'm now a functional human again. And I'm genuinely thinking of doing it,
Yeah,
like literally in the next couple of months. Like to the point where
I
I'm writing down where there's open mics and working all that stuff out. I'm genuinely going to do it.
yeah, and I think this will be, as somebody who's done stand up through a lot of grief, whatever kerosene is still in the tank that you need to burn off grief wise from your mom, I think
Yeah.
stand up is going to help it. Stand up really helps you burn off grief, and it also like from a I don't know, from a self worth or like self respect, self confidence point of view. I've heard a lot of comics say that self deprecating humor or roast jokes, right? Like I've written a lot of roast jokes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my friend Jeff Ross said that the way that you write a roast joke is that everyone, when they leave the house, emotionally and physically, there are two things that they're hoping nobody sees, and then everybody sees it. And so for me, like I get a double chin real easily, and then I have anxiety. And so I'm hoping nobody sees my anxiety, and then I'm hoping nobody sees the double chin. And just everybody sees both. And usually that's what they like about you. Like the things that we're trying to hide are actually the things that somebody goes, "Oh, thank goodness." Like Pete's a little bit nervous. I'm nervous. So if I'm next to him, it's fine. You know,
Yeah.
um, and and then fat chin wise, I don't know, everybody feels a little heavy. And so if I'm walking around gobbling away with my double chin, then why do people have to feel weird about their love handles? I don't know. It like actually makes people feel more secure. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like stand-up comedy wise, like it really is I think it was Richard Pryor that said, if you can walk into a room and point out those two things about yourself, you take the power away from all the bullies in the room.
Yeah.
And when you do that repeatedly, when you encounter bullies in real life, they don't have any power because you're like, oh my God, you don't understand. I have way better jokes about that than you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And it really it's done a lot for my anxiety, and my self-confidence to just be deprecating about myself. And when somebody in real life, oh, I'm giving you grief, why aren't you laughing? And I'm like, because I have way better jokes. It's not that I'm offended, it's that
Yeah.
you suck at this. Like bully. But I don't know. So yeah, that's a delightful side product of.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm quite
All right.
self-deprecating anyway, and the only reason I don't react to people is purely just because I don't want to wrinkle my moneymaker. So
Yeah, the Lynn, oh gosh, Lynn Coplett's a really fantastic comedian. She goes, I used to laugh and laugh in my 20s, and I would laugh and laugh. And she's like, now that I'm in my 40s and I have wrinkles, she goes, what the fuck was so funny? I don't know if I can swear on the show. I didn't
yeah,
mean to.
definitely. There's been
Yeah, all
some
right.
horrific things said over the years.
Oh, there's just horrific thing. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, you're like Pete. You don't understand what has been said. Like, there's been some very terrible. That's
Sometimes someone
funny.
will go, I'm going to watch your show, and I'll be like, don't watch that episode. Just in my head.
No,
Don't start
no.
with that. Work your way up to it. Get a sense for the show, and then ease your way in.
Oh, I love that.
Can you tell me how close your stage persona is to your or stage one, and how long does it take to develop and find your voice?
I've been doing it for 27 years,
Yeah,
and when I first started, I think I was way closer to this than it was a roundabout thing because, television in the United States, I think, really messed up. It developed and it also messed up stand-up comedy for years and years, because you were catering your set so that you could succeed in comedy to what network executives and comedy talent scouts what their taste was, and their taste was very much like you need a unique point of view. You need it to be sort of your point of view needs to be so I don't even so simple or so whatever that they could write it down in a bio to their boss and sell it to them. And
right.
I
Yeah,
think that I think that made a lot of comics, write down what they were and then subscribe to that
right.
versus trying to, if you wrote down a description of a character, and then you just went and brought an authentic person over, the authentic person is a way more dynamic and amazing character than somebody that is a two-line description of a person.
Right.
And so, and you see that when you watch a bad movie. If you watch a bad movie and you see a bad character in a movie, it's because there's an actor who's a dynamic person that could bring way more to that role if they were just kind of themselves
Yeah.
versus being like, this guy he's the cocky bartender, or whatever it is. And that's not a dynamic person. But so yeah, I think that for a long time I was trying to figure out what my persona was, figure out what my point of view was, and really kind of manufacture that so that I could get on TV shows and stuff like that. And yeah, the where I'm staying, my one of my friends' mothers, who's also my friend Dawn, is here, and so she just came in from being out in the sun. Oh yeah. Um, uh, but yeah, so anyway, but so when I first started, I didn't know any better, and I wasn't trying to manufacture anything or get on TV. And then, you know, when I was writing those opening lines, I was kind of taking those lines from the bio and saying them so that the network people would go, "Oh, he's this,
Right. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
that," and then they could sell me easier. And then, the rest of the set was kind of about that, which is a great writing exercise. Um, but I think that stand-up comedy is getting better and better and better now that the TV networks are losing their power and most people are watching stand-up online, or
Yeah.
also comedians are doing a lot of podcasts like we're doing right now, where in an hour's time I can't help but just be myself. And but yeah, the goal on stage is to be as close to myself as possible. And I'm an extremely kind person. Almost the thing that's stupid about me is that I'm very loving and kind and giving to other people. But if I were to write that down, is that's my thing. Like, I have sadness. I have anger. I have tragedy. I have trauma. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm working through stuff. I'm trying and failing. I'll be a good person and then I'll be a bad person for a tiny moment or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes you want to fight a 13-year-old martial artist, apparently.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So there's like all of that goes into the thing, and so I don't know. I mean, like trying to find my point of view or my stage persona or whatever. I think that now that I can just put out my own content, and and then when I go on the Tonight Show, I can kind of do to a limited degree what I want. Um, it helps me just go, well, I'm in control of this now. Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to impress a tastemaker. I just get to do what I want as long as the audience likes it. You test stuff over and over and over again. And if the audience hates it, then they're kind of your editor, they're your director. Um, I always think it's funny when people online will go, "You can't talk about that. That's too soon." I'm like, "Well, the audience will tell me.
Yeah.
The audience will like, or there'll be, you could have somebody in your life, a romantic partner that goes, I don't think you should talk about that. Well, they don't get to be your editor. They don't get to have influence. It's the audience's say. It's you and the audience are the ones that write your material together. You know?
That's so
Uh,
true. And you are, of course, the loveliest, sweetest guy, and that comes across in every performance, every interview. But I must say, I've seen some of your roast battles, and you can also be pretty brutal. Can you tell me
yeah.
anyone that you would love to roast?
It's funny. I'm one of my best friends is Nikki Glaser, and her and I, we were like right at the tail end of her college, and then I was, in my early 20s. We dated, and then we had a falling out. We've talked about it on podcasts and whatnot. We dated each other, and then I wound up breaking up with her, and I didn't even know her long enough to know that I broke up with her on her birthday. I called
Oh
her up and
no.
was like, "Hey, I think we need to just be friends," and then, I mean, that's horrible. Think about it. That was her 22nd birthday. So, I mean, when you're 22 in your development, that's horrific. And then we didn't speak for 10 years. She would not reconcile with me. And I smile about it now because we've made up and now we're such good friends that like we've gone on, holiday to like spend Christmas together on vacation. And she's a wonderful person. She's also one of the best comedians I think working today.
Yeah, she's
I not
amazing.
only, yeah, and her stuff, when she's about to do a special, I'll help her do a little bit of punch up here and there. And I'm honored that, I've gotten a few lines into, her recent specials. But I would love to do a roast battle with her because I think she's one of the best roasters ever. Really one of the best roasters ever. I mean, that Tom Brady roast is amazing. Um, but I would love to roast her to write jokes about her. But I also I would be pissing my pants laughing the entire time at the gnarly stuff that she would say about me. And, I don't think I ever hated her. I think she did hate me for a good stretch, but I think it'd be fun to roast someone who I love deeply who hated me at one point that could tap
Right.
into that to roast me, and I would love that. But I don't know that that would ever happen. I mean, her and I have coffee and lunch and stuff like that, and we go back and forth and rip on each other a little bit. And so I've tasted it. I've
Right.
tasted what that would be like. But in front of an audience, that'd be really fun. The sidebar for a while, I was going on a tour and opening for her a little bit, and she would actually bring me up at some point during the show, and her and I would kind of riff back and forth together. So we've never roasted each other on stage, but we have improvised with each other, and
Right.
that's really fun.
I'd
But
love to see that. It'd be amazing.
yeah,
I saw
yeah.
you're on Last Comic Standing in 2008, and you made it to the semi-finals. And of course, afterwards, you're faced with this panel of comedians that give you feedback or criticism or praise. Was it stressful doing that, or did you see it mostly as a constructive thing?
Oh yeah, I hated it. It's so weird to do stand up and then be critiqued on it because 2008 when I did it, it was fun, but then I went back to try to do it again, and that show kept getting canceled and brought back, and there was I think it was 2012 when I did it. They were like, "Hey, can you do the first episode?" But I was in contract with. I was a writer and performer on Best Week Ever
Right.
on VH1, and if you were on a TV show to do Last Comic Standing, you couldn't have any media influence outside of that. So you had to like quit your TV show to go do this thing. And I was like,
Oh,
well, I'm not
wow.
going to quit the show that I'm on that I'm like salaried as a writer and a cast member for a show where I might do one episode. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing. And I'm also making really good money on this show. And I was like, what am I? So they go, well, can you come and do the first episode? And then you're guaranteed to not move on. And I was like, yeah, fine. You just can't get to a voting round. So I went to do it and then I crushed. And then Roseanne Barr, who hadn't
Yeah.
done comedy in decades, was one of the judges. And I respect Roseanne's comedy. I respect, her. I respect her career. She's done things that I've never done. But in terms of stand-up comedy, she does not know the current state. And now she does because she's been doing it lately.
Yeah.
But at that time, that version of Roseanne did not understand that jokes had evolved to a point where you didn't do two jokes in a minute, you did 19, and the jokes per minute were insane. And she was like, I don't know. She's like, you're too fast. It's insecure. It's blah blah blah. And I said, they didn't air this, but I responded. I go, Roseanne, with all due respect, I go, I don't think you understand stand-up comedy right now. And I go, so it's ironic that you're judging the show
Yeah.
because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to confuse you and you're going to tell them that they're doing it wrong, but they're actually, I go, it's evolved past the point where your knowledge is applicable. And the crowd just cheered me on, and then she was like, "No, I think you're a bad comedian, sweetheart." And I was like, and the crowd booed her, and I was like, I respect you. I was like, I just think I know what I'm talking about. And then
Yeah.
Russell Peters was one of the judges, and he goes, actually, Roseanne, he's like, he's right. He's like, he's really doing something that's top notch. And um, but I probably wouldn't have been that rude to her, but it was, if we're in front of a crowd and we're going to talk shop, I'm going to let her know that she hasn't been around for 20 years,
Yeah.
and but yeah, so that was really hard. And I don't feel comfortable with those kinds of conversations, but in that, I guess because I had the support of a crowd,
Mm.
and I thought that I didn't feel like I was you know, insulting her as much as I was teaching her, and I'm also somebody that believes that you don't need to have a teachable moment with anybody that's not, your child or your spouse.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, but in that moment, I was like, I think I need to have a teachable moment with Roseanne, which is kind of odd. But yeah, it's not a pleasant thing to go on those shows. You want to go on TV or you want to go on any show and you want to have a good time and then have positive vibes.
Yeah.
I read a book a long time ago
So
that
did
said
I.
that, yeah,
Sorry.
God, I love you. You're great. I read a book a long time ago that said that the night after your performance, don't listen to it or don't review it right away. Take, just even if you wake up in the morning and review it, just do your performance and stay positive. And also before the show, before you go on stage, don't be stressing out looking at your notes. Like look at your notes up until 15 minutes beforehand, set them down, and then just go out there and be a person. And so the idea that anybody would want to have like a post-show recap or sort of for lack of a better word, like when you in like theater or like in a musical, there it's like, all right, post-show meeting.
Yeah.
The idea that anybody would want to have a post-show meeting with you in stand-up comedy is absurd, and that's why I've never let anybody do that. I had a partner in my life that after the show, she would want to like talk about what went right and what went wrong. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And she's like, whoa, your ego is so fragile that you can't handle this. I was like, no, it's just like literally like a best practice that you
Mhm.
you just do the show, because imagine you're doing a show, it's going to change the performance if you're worried about what the critique is going to be
Yeah.
afterwards. So if you take away the critique, there's no there you're just up there in the moment. And
And especially
you
if
know
it's only from like 1 to 5 people, because they don't represent an entire audience anyway.
Yeah, yeah, this partner I had in my life would be like, oh, during this part of it, you look nervous or whatever. And I now found out that that partner was kind of a mean person and kind of a saboteur within the ranks. But yeah, so uh, yeah, when you do stand up, just know that there's going to be no post show meeting, and you don't even allow
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
That's good advice. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah,
So just run out of
yeah.
the building as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Not
People
run,
are going to
waddle
try.
slowly. I don't think I could run out.
You just yell fire and you run out.
Yeah.
You're like, fire! I'm out of here. Have you ever had a favorite TV show or a favorite movie that a friend hasn't watched before, and
Yeah.
then it goes from, oh my God, I can't believe you haven't seen that movie, to you get excited that they get to see that movie for the first time. Like I'm excited for you that you get to go do stand-up for the first time. That's really exciting.
I'm
It's
excited.
yeah. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, I think I'm
This
going
is
to have
great.
so much fun doing it. And I still need to sort through all the stuff I've written. Like some of it's like 5 years old now. I was mid writing your interview, stopping and writing jokes and then going back and like doing that. So that's very much in my headspace at the moment. And you can kind of tell what mood I'm in by who I'm interviewing and who I'm thinking about and just where I am in my life by who I interview.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
As
makes
I had
absolute
several
sense.
suicide hotlines. No, I didn't. But you know,
You, gosh, the suicide hotline is such a funny, dark thing, but yeah, I can't even remember. I used to have a joke about suicide hotline of just like somebody that's as happy as me, talking to depressed people, and I'm like, it was like I didn't have a good saving rate. You need to also be depressed when you're on the suicide hotline.
so one question I ask every guest on the Sarah O'Connell show is, can you tell me a fun fact about yourself? A hobby, a party trick, something like that.
Fun fact about myself is that I was once a sponsored skateboarder.
Oh, wow.
So when I became friends with Tony Hawk recently, I sent him this picture. I'm literally going in my text messages with Tony and sending a picture that I sent him, and I'll show it onto the screen. Um, this is me doing a backside air on a on a self-built ramp with stolen lumber. So that was when I became friends with him. I was like, "Hey, by the way, I used to skateboard um, and yeah, and also if you want to, I can send these to you as well. But this is the picture of him give after he gave me that skateboard deck.
Yeah, I
So
saw
that's
that
like
on
what the
stage. I love that you did that. It was at the Comedy Store, right?
Comedy Store. It
Yeah,
was so
yeah.
sweet. It was amazing. I'm about to start a podcast. Do you enjoy doing this? I really feel like I
Yeah,
would
I
enjoy
love
doing
doing
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird that I've been hesitant and I've been resisting doing it
I can
because
give
it
you
just
advice
sounds
on
so fun.
this. This is
Yes,
amazing. We
please
can
give me
help each
advice on
other.
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so to me, it's a lot of fun. I look at it, I'm just celebrating people that I love. So
Hmm.
I don't necessarily go out looking for guests, but I watch and gravitate towards things that I enjoy. And I watched a cartoon one day, and within 20 minutes of it, it was a Harley Quinn animated show that they'd just released. Within 20 minutes of it, I'd arranged an interview with all three writers from the show. I didn't know them in advance. It just kind of happened
Whoa.
organically. I watched meant comedy that night because I just love comedy and it's a way of connecting and visiting comedy clubs virtually just to soak up as much of it as I can. And yeah,
Yeah.
I loved you and wanted you on my show. And you're
Oh, I love that.
amazing as a comedian. And I love talking to you. And I think a podcast with you would be spectacular.
Oh, this is really fun. Yeah, I was talking to my psychiatrist yesterday about, she's like, what's the barrier to you doing a podcast? And I go, asking people to be on the show. And that seems like a skill of yours, or maybe you've developed that over time, but
Yeah, I've
you
kind of
just,
worked it out, I think.
yeah, you've worked it out. So maybe I'm telling you, don't be afraid of getting on stage to do comedy, and you're telling me don't be afraid to ask people to come on your show, and I'm gonna really enjoy it. So yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, you'll be amazing at it. And I, in 10 to 20 years, might be okay at comedy. So between the two of us, we're a triple threat.
Yeah, we're a total triple threat.
I'm really
Yeah.
bad at maths, so
No, I me too. Me as well.
depending on how hungry I am, I can be a quadruple threat. Just because I get more hungry and my threat level goes up. It's not that I get that big.
I love that. That's so funny.
Have you got any messages for people watching the Sarah O'Connell show and your fans around the world?
Um, I just be loving to people, or try. You can't always be. Sometimes you're like, God damn that motherfucker, but yeah, when you get to the intersection of love and anger, fear, sadness, hate, evil, whatever, just literally somebody can give you a horrible comment online, and the most confusing thing that you can write to them is, "Hey, love you." you know, like that'll bother them way more than a comeback. But yeah, so just try to do that. It'll give you peace to know that you can just. It actually takes a lot less energy to just go, "Hey, love you." Uh, yeah, that's my advice, I guess.
Anyone that hasn't seen you before, please follow Pete Lee on all social media. And you perform sometimes twice a night. I know tonight you're at the Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory, two places, like dream places of mine I'd love to perform at one day. So definitely get
Yeah,
tickets to see you everywhere.
get tickets, and yeah, if people want to follow me on social media, uh, um, on Facebook, I'm just Pete Lee. On YouTube, you can just type in Pete Lee. If you're on Instagram or TikTok, I'm at Pete Lee, Pete Lee, Pete Lee. It sounds like it's my name three times in a row. I couldn't get Pete Lee. There's another dude that has that,
It's your name
but
in a
Pete Lee, Pete Lee,
cave.
Pete Lee. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's Pete Lee, Pete Lee, Pete Lee.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Well,
You're
you
very
say it
witty.
repeatedly.
Yeah, Pete Lee, Pete Lee, Pete
Yeah.
Lee. It gets quieter. It starts out in all caps and then it goes down to lowercase. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time and your advice. You're welcome back anytime, and I could ask you questions forever because you've got so much experience. You're amazing on stage.
Well, yeah. We'll finish out this. We're gonna do a sequel to this. I will be back. Terminator. I'll be back.
And I'm Sarah O'Connell, so that works.
Yes, absolutely. You're Sarah O'Connell. You're just at Sarah O'Connell, right? Did you get it? Or just Sarah O'Connell show?
So on most things, I'm Sarah O'Connell Show, and then on Blue Sky, I'm sarahoconnellshow.com. But
Oh,
yeah, on
great.
YouTube,
Oh,
Sarah O'Connell Show, yeah.
oh, that's great. I love that. Brilliant. Well, I'm gonna go get ready to host my friend and figure out where we're gonna go have high tea.
Yeah,
And
I'm just
thank
excited to watch it, to be honest. And thank you again for just keeping
yeah,
this thing connected so that I can be there virtually. I love watching
this is
virtual high teas.
this is awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna carry the laptop to the high tea. We'll do
You
that,
should.
and then we'll take a
And
nap.
let's test that Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
10 steps
See
out,
how
like
far
that
it
was a bad
goes.
idea.
See how far it goes. See that when we're in the house, it's actually boiling us.
Exactly.
But,
So, Pete Lee,
well,
thank you so much for your time. And thank you to everybody watching at home. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave lots of lovely comments. I'll see you all again soon for another episode of The Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
thank you. Hi, my name is Pete Lee. Please subscribe to the Sarah O'Connell Show. I have, actually, you know what? I haven't yet. I'm gonna go do it right now, and you should too. I'm literally gonna go to YouTube right now and do it so that I'm not, so that we don't make a liar out of me. All right, I have now subscribed to you, um, and now I'm gonna go back to the Zoom. Um, there we go. Now we're back. Yeah, not Pete. Hey, this is Pete Lee. You're watching the Sarah O'Connell Show. I just subscribed, and I'm not a liar. There we go.
That's the only
We got
reason I do
another
these
one.
interviews. It's exhausting. It takes weeks of work to
Yeah.
get one subscriber every couple of weeks, but it's paying off.
Oh,
I'm now up to 4.
believe me. Yeah, you're not gonna have any problem with stand-up comedy. It's
Thank
gonna be
you.
amazing.
Take care and enjoy your high tea, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. All right, talk to you
Bye.
soon. All right, bye.